Hello, good morning. Good morning, everyone. We are
Good
live
morning.
here.
Good morning. Many people have joined in. Good morning to Ashwini, to Leela, to Pankaj, to Vishnu Priya. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Shilpa. Good morning, Vishnu. Good morning, Moon. Good morning, Pankaj. Hi, good morning. Good morning, everyone. We are waiting for others to join in.
Good morning, Sheena. Good morning, Madhu. Good morning, Gautami. So it's nice to see so many of you joining us here on a Saturday morning. This is definitely going to be a very informative and fun session for all of you. So just wait for a few more minutes for everybody to join us on this webinar. Jyotsna, Tara, Sangeeta, Nandini, good morning to everybody.
Good morning, Ashwini. Good morning, Praveena. Yeah, hi. Hi, Ashika. Hi, Pranita. Hi, Swaranjana.
Hello, everyone. A very good
Hi.
morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Here.
Myself, Hamsa, and this is my colleague Simple. So, together we are going to be talking about writing, all about writing, how it starts, how you can help your child through the process, and a lot of tips and tricks along the way we'll be sharing. We'll also be answering your queries throughout this webinar. So, please do keep your queries coming in the chat box, it's active.
So I'm Simple. Again, what Mamsa ma'am had told, we want to know you all more. So why don't you in the chat box let us know from which centers you belong to. You can type CVR for CV Raman Nagar, Varthur, Ramurti Nagar, Hoysala Nagar. We have lot of centers. So let us know where you are from so that we can connect better. So yeah, I see Ramurti Nagar. Hi ma'am. I have parents from Gunjur. ACS layout, all right. Yes, I have a parent from Dasrahalli, from Varthur, Hebbal, Kempapura, Lanka New Town, Batrahalli.
So it's coming thick and fast. That's very nice. So welcome again. So before we start, we just wanted to say there's so much of information available to all of you on the web, right? Regarding writing and many other skills that are essential for your child. So how do you go through all of this? How do you filter it? How do you take what is relevant to you? So today's webinar is all about that. What we are going to be interacting and giving you information is about what is relevant, what you need to look at, what will be useful and helpful for you in a fun and simple manner.
And I have parents from all across Ayappa Nagar, HRBR. Welcome all of you to this wonderful, wonderful, exciting webinar. I'm sure it's going to be very insightful for you all, and you will feel that making children write can be so interesting. Also now, thank you so much for your response. Also let us know if your child is studying in playgroup or nursery. Can you let us know in the chat box?
So today's webinar, we are focusing on our younger age group school going children. That's basically playgroup class and nursery age children. This is where the foundation is laid for writing. So after today's webinar, I'm sure you will feel that, okay, this is all there is to it. So it's easy, it's going to be fun to help them to learn writing. And this is the age to start, because there are skills that they have to pick up before they even venture with writing. picking up a pencil, writing on a paper or a book. There are many things that come before that precede the writing skills. So today we're going to take you step by step through the entire process and give you all the tips and information and insights to help you also effectively help your child.
So I have Hamsa ma'am, equal number of playgroup and nursery students.
All right, that's nice.
So playgroup children generally we do a lot of pre-writing activities, and nursery we start actively writing. So we'll give you a small milestone. You need not worry. Now the age bracket also that from here what we have in Karnataka is pretty straightforward. Nursery starts from 3 and writing also begins from 3. So there are some milestones that the child needs to be looking at so that we can have from scribbling to going to definite strokes. We'll see what all is required. So children should typically be able to imitate scribbles and on a piece of paper with thin crayons. This is the first thing, the writing milestone that we will be discussing today. This is what all we are going to see today. The first will be the writing milestone. The next will
Following that would be the mechanics of writing. So when we say writing, it doesn't immediately translate into ABC or 1, 2, 3. There are many steps, many activities that we usually do with the children, especially in the playgroup class for that 1 year. And these are called your pre-writing skills. And what are the different activities that are available under pre-writing? We will be discussing that.
Then how to approach writing for the young children. When we say writing, it is same as a big thing for the children. They don't immediately start with letters and numbers. Writing can be as simple as scribbling on a wall or playing with Play-Doh, all this. So how do you approach active writing when it is the right age? Then we will discuss the best practices and tips for making the writing fun, better and crispier.
And of course, there are practices that are followed which are not the right way to approach writing at all. They are more detrimental to the child picking up writing rather than helping the child. And at the end of the session, the forum will be open to all of you for you to ask your queries, but in between as well, we will be answering your queries as and when we are able to. So let's start off. We'll be starting off first to addressing the milestones, the writing milestones. It is important that you understand the age at which each milestone is achieved. So at a younger age, we are not expecting children to start writing words and letters, but by the time a child does reach age 5, they should be able to identify, spell and write words. So from playgroup and nursery, this is all your foundational level. This is the beginning. So how and what should you expect? That is what we'll be looking at now when we look at the milestones.
Right. So the first thing is, again, another question. How many of you see your walls painted with crayons? The children have written everything across your walls with colorful crayons or pencils. Can you give us a heads up? How many people face this kind of issue at home, that newly painted walls are now painted with child's beautiful drawings, which you can hardly make out anything? Do we have any parents?
Yes. A lot of them saying yes.
So you are not alone. I can see so many people saying the same thing. Right. So that is the first step towards writing. When the children are able to hold and separate these fingers, the first 3 fingers, the thumb, index and the middle finger, these are 3 fingers required. They need to hold the crayon or hold any object for that matter, and they need to explore the coloring, writing with crayons. That is the first thing that is there. So a child of 2 years, that is 24 months, should typically be able to scribble, hold anything and scribble. It can be a chalk, it can be a crayon. We prefer crayon because it gives a good grip on a piece of paper. So if your child has this habit and tendency of coloring across your walls, You can paste chart papers, but do not stop them from doing that. It's an experiment they want to do. They like putting it on the board. They see when they start schooling, they see their teachers writing on the board. They want to imitate that. So if you cannot have a blackboard on the wall, you should ideally paste chart papers. They will start scribbling on their own with crayons and pencils. It will help them in writing. Second, when the child is 3, they should be able to accurately form vertical lines, then horizontal lines, and then circles. These are free hand movements. That is the next step to writing. By the age of 4, children are able to confidently draw any objects, squares, shapes, circles, triangles, and they are able to understand the 4 lines better, and the grip is very sharp, and they will be able to write without any issues. I think that is how the writing begins, and that is what we also promote in school. So there are a lot of things behind how the writing actually begins. This is how we see, okay, my child has started writing letters, numbers, so this is what it is important. But actually there is a lot of mechanics behind it, and I would ask Hamsa ma'am to suggest a few. In today's webinar, we'll also see a few of the objects and material that you as parents can use at home and help the child develop the fine motors of the hand. The muscles start paining when they start writing. So we'll help you out with that also, and you can put in your questions if you find anything which is you find that, okay, my child's muscles are not there, grip is not yet formed, how it is, because there are a lot of engagement from the child. It has to be developed from the core to upper arms to the forearms and all the activities. So we'll see what are graphs and fine motors and what are the writing mechanics.
So, as we were talking earlier, writing does not immediately go to a pencil and paper. There are a lot of activities that need to be done before you actually start writing. So, these fall under the category of pre-writing skills. Okay. So, the main goal of pre-writing is basically to help them build these competency areas so that they're successful later in their writing, and it becomes a positive experience, because that again leads to self-esteem, self-efficacy, and so many other things. So now writing mechanics, so it starts with your motor skill development. 2 terms here, fine and gross motor skills. I'm not sure how many of you know what that is. So now if we say gross motor skills, it's all about, in this regard, when we talk about writing, it is the arm that we're talking about. So the arm strength, the hand strength. Then comes to fine motor skills, which is your finger strength, your hand-eye coordination, and so on and so forth. So before they can even start writing, hand-eye coordination needs to be developed. They should be able to manipulate objects with their hands. Finger isolation. So each finger they should be able to handle separately, use separately. That is why you can notice when we do activities at playgroup level, we have thumb printing, finger printing, we do paper tearing, we ask them to crush paper, we give them dough or clay, which they will mold with their fingers, which increases or improves the hand strength, and also allows them to separate the fingers. We also do finger activities, exercises, which we will show you later on how you can do basic ones. So we're talking about pre-writing activities. Again, what we are presenting here are things that you actually have at home. You can create those materials at home and give it as a fun activity every now and then, so that your child, in a fun way, unknowingly, is building up the strength in their motor skills. The finer muscles are getting strengthened, preparing them for what will come later, which is the writing activity. So you can see some pictures here. We have the lacing material. This you can prepare using even a chart paper, and you can use a shoelace and a child can do the activity. You don't even have to buy these materials, but they are available easily online. Simple clipping activities. This helps to actually strengthen the 3 fingers that would be required for writing. So beading activity is there, we have scooping activity, pouring activity, you have clamping activity. All these are very easy to replicate at home for you to do. Right, so then you have the squeezing activity. You can have simple sponge, they can mop up water with it. So the squeezing motion, the strength that they apply when they are doing the squeezing activity really helps them to develop the finger muscles. Now, all these that we showed you will be easily available and you can have it at home, and you should do it regularly with your child. See, it isn't magic. Children don't start writing the second you give them the pencil and paper. There are steps to it and a lot of preparation work, prep work. These pre-writing activities are the basis for your child to start writing and finding it easy to write. So the first thing that the child will come back to you when you actually give them writing would be, my hands are paining, I'm not able to hold. You will find that the grip of the child will be very different. Some will start like this, some will have all their fingers together. You need to bring into play only the 3 fingers. The child will have to hold this way. So the pencil you are giving, so even during pre-writing time, later on when Simple Ma'am is discussing the various steps of writing, when we start with scribbling, we again recommend that you use the thinner crayons and you use pencils. Don't use the thick crayons. Chalk also we do not recommend. So you can get the plastic crayons, you can use the thin crayons which literally mimic a pencil. So the grip on the crayon will be the same as your pencil. So color pencils are fine. These thin plastic crayons, or if you get wax crayons which are also again only of this thickness, that is also fine. Try not to use your 10 rupee crayons. They are very short, very small. It becomes too convenient. It goes into the hand of the child. They should also understand the weight of a pencil. So all this adds towards their writing. So when you are doing the pre-writing exercises, at that point, if the child is ready or interested to do scribbling, just see that you introduce the right material when the grip starts to develop. Because changing the grip of a child later, that becomes challenging. So from the beginning, when they start off with the scribbling activity, you have to start observing the grip and ensure that the grip is correct. This is very important. This is the first step. If you find that your child is using all the fingers this way or holding this way, you can give the child something to hold under the last 2 fingers. So for example, an eraser or cotton, and you have to make it a game. You have to tell the child, this should not fall. And then you can ask the child to hold the pencil. So now these 2 fingers will not come into play. They cannot hold the pencil with these 2 fingers because they are busy holding an eraser or cotton. So you can start it as a game, and you will find after a while you don't even have to give them the eraser. Automatically these 2 fingers don't come into play when the child is going to write. So pre-writing is a very important step. So if you are in Kids Castle and you have seen our playgroup books, you will find that is all activity based, and it takes 8 to 10 months for a child to develop the strength and the grip of a pencil. And since it's all activity based, they don't even realize that they're doing work. So basically they are learning, they are doing activities, but to them it is all fun. And through the fun way, they are understanding how to hold a crayon or a color pencil. And after a color pencil or crayon, when they move to a pencil, it becomes easier for them to carry on with the next steps of writing. So these pre-writing activities, age 2 to 3 children are usually involved in these. Children who have not gone to playgroup, and in case they have not had as much exposure before coming to school in nursery, We will also in school be continuing these activities, but that would mean at home you will have to give more of these activities on a daily basis, so that the child is able to follow up or follow on the writing skills and whatever writing steps come into play when they are in nursery. So next we'll now look at how do you approach writing. So writing, we have a particular way of doing it. It's a very tried and tested method that we do at Kids Castle. So here we don't do ABC. Most of you have already seen that. There is a certain way to introduce writing itself. Again, it is done with the aim and focus that the child does not find it a burden or find it difficult or find it challenging or even scary to do the writing. So let's see how we will approach the step-by-step writing process.
So writing is complex, definitely, but it's not that scarier. How many of you feel your children are not able to write? This is especially for nursery parents. Do you feel your child is not able to write? Anybody? You can type in the chat box. We'll pick up from there. Yeah, and I see for the answers that were there for the wall thing, I think everybody, there were a few parents who told that the walls, the sofa, the tables, I think there was somebody who said everything, almirah, everything was painted with the colors and the crayons. So now I want to see nursery. My child is using middle finger, Aruna. Okay. Okay, fine. So there are, yes, by 3, when the child is 3, generally children are able to hold the pencil properly and the grip also forms. But for playgroup and children who have not taken admission in playgroup with us or not done nursery, are doing nursery directly, there are a few things that your child might have missed out. Few of the activities that we do that Hamsa ma'am was telling, that those are the activities we plan for pre-writing skills to develop the pre-writing skills and to make the thumb index finger firmer. Like we do a lot of thumb printing, we do a lot of finger printing, we do clay dough activities, we do paper tearing activities. So if your child, yes, I can see the child is able to hold, one of the parent is telling us that one child is able to hold but don't apply pressure while writing. So these are common things that is there. Okay, my child is using all 5 fingers. That is also one Soumya ma'am is telling, Soumya Patil ma'am. So ma'am, these are not very difficult experiences that you are having. What we do, you can also follow now also. You can do certain activities with the children. Does your child enjoy opening and closing the bottles, water bottles, and then pouring the water here and there? If any parent is there who finds this is what the child does, please let me know, because this is a very, very interesting activity that we do in school. We give them empty bottles, of course. We give them empty bottles with lid and we ask them to open. So here if you see, a lot of muscles are used. The core is used, the upper arms are used, the arms, both the arms are doing different activities. Yes, I see. So I can understand you all are able to relate to these activities, but this is a very important skill. Here both the hands are getting used. The left hand is used to hold the bottle. Right hand, they open the lid using all 5 fingers and then they pour. They pour the water and they enjoy this. And they start laughing and smiling. This is an activity we do in 2 separate ways. We do one which is pouring activity. We give them 2 tumblers, one bigger, one smaller, and we ask them to pour water using the whole hand. We make it a fist, hold the handle, pour it. So if you see, this activity requires, for us as adults, we don't see it as a difficult activity. But for a child, it is very difficult to hold with one hand and then pour water in the container. So it will spill. So we first give it grains, that is solids, then we give it liquids. Then there is the other one that we were telling, bottle opening and closing. Similarly, as Hamsa ma'am was telling, cloth pins you can give them squeezing activities. You can also share your dough while you are making chapatis. You can give them dough to prepare anything. It can be someday you can add red colors to it, someday green, someday any other colors that the children will feel they enjoy doing this activity, and in return what is happening is their engagement with the hands are increased and their focus also increase. I can see so many comments are there. My child twists the wrist while writing. So yes, there are issues that are there, and one of the parent is telling my child opens and closes not his own bottle, but all the bottle and spills everywhere the water. I'm sure your house is a complete, a beautiful. It's a beautiful house with children around. When you have adults, everything will be in place, but when you have children in house, it'll be more lively. That is how they do. They scribble everywhere. They practice and they become masters. So writing doesn't mean just writing letters. It means experimenting with all the things that are available inside their house. The cloth pin that was there and ma'am was showing you, it also requires the same two fingers, index and the thumb. It is difficult. So we give them a stronger bowl kind of a thing initially, then we give them paper. Then we give them cloth. So you can give them the strings while you are doing it. You can ask them also to do. Now I'll get back to what the scribbling and the activities that are supposed to be, that will help the child in direct writing. So here I'll show you a few pages. You can give these activities at home also. And you can see that the child can do. If you can see, this is a blank page. You can give a blank page for the child to do whatever they feel like doing. Give them colors. This is just a scribbling paper that we have given. And then once he enjoys this, you can ask them to color like this within the boundaries. So this is an apple drawn. You can make apple, oranges, ball, bananas. You can give them a house, a square, any shapes that you want, and ask them to color within the boundaries. Now trust me, it is difficult. It is difficult to color within the boundaries. So let the child experiment. Experiment with colors, experiment with dabbing activities, and it has to go in one format, one directional scribbling. Here, if you see these two patterns, I will show you together. Please check this out. Here on this page, the scribbles are everywhere, just non-directional. It is everywhere. This is unidirectional. It's only on one side. So this will help the child to understand. But to reach to this place also, the child needs to experiment with the colors and with the crayons. Once this level is done, you can then move on to the next one, which is joining the dots. After all, writing is about writing between the lines. So we simplify that activity and we give them multiple dots. If you can see here, there are dots everywhere and we have given crayons. Let the child join. It will be all shaky, not firm, but this is the practice that they need to do. They need to understand that they have to join one dot to the other dot. It can be very light, it can be very shaky, but you have to give them practice again and again. If they are not able to do, you can dip maybe Johnson bud and you can ask them to stretch. So here also, when you are asking them to make bigger lines, the whole arm, elbow, everything is involved. The wrist is also involved. So you have to ask them not to just experiment in the notebooks that we are giving, but also outside that. We'll show you our pre-writing book also, but here if I show you, these are strokes which are defined and we are asking them to join one dot to other dot standing line. And this is, we have to give instructions to the child to join one dot to the other dot, one at a time, and to make a standing line holding the crayon properly. The next step will come multiple dots. Then again you sit and you give instruction, one dot to the other dot. The smaller gap is there between the dots. To understand things better, they need to join it multiple times and they have to practice and master. Now, explanation and giving the idea comes in one day only, but the child has to master. He has to enjoy, or she has to enjoy the activity that is given. So for the same thing, you can have multiple sheets, multiple worksheets also. You can prepare for yourself on your own, or you can take the help of our first book of pre-writing also. This book is designed by our director herself. Shweta ma'am has designed this one. Since she has a lot of experience with how children work and how children will learn, this is how interestingly it has been made. You can see there's a cloud and the child has to just trace on the dotted lines. Then there's a balloon, it has to just go down. One directional standing line is what the child has to learn. Then later it will come in 4 lines. You can see there are 4 lines and the first 3 lines are only used. So this also, understanding of the child will come when he has practiced and mastered. Then we'll show you 1 or 2 more things also. When we start making it, you can create your own, like ice cream and a child, a rabbit to a carrot, like that. You make your own worksheets and ask the child to make either standing line, then slowly come to sleeping lines. Then we start with letters. The letters are big one, 3 dots, and the first letter we teach them is the joining of standing and sleeping line. This is letter L. So while you do these activities, you will know whether your child is enjoying the activity, not enjoying the activity. I have a few questions and queries. Yes, I have a query from Sauvik. Sir, you are mentioning my child is 2 years, at times uses alternative hands while scribbling. Is this a common practice in children? Yes, it is a common practice. We will discuss about the left hand, right hand again in some time. We'll take your query, sir. If you're Rumana Sharif, ma'am, my son likes to play with roti dough and makes toys out of it. That's a very good practice, I will say. And this is how the hand muscles, finger muscles will become very strong. All of you can put your queries. We'll take one by one, and as much as possible, we'll try and take it. Yes, Shijila Raj. Ma'am has told that my child would scribble when I tell her to draw the line. So when you're asking her to draw the line, she's scribbling. That's a very good practice actually. There's no harm in it, but you have to give the practice sheets rather than giving the actual books, because the pre-writing has to happen before actual writing happens. And Prerna ma'am is telling, my daughter in nursery, she loves to write in books after all these activities taken in school. Earlier she was not willing to hold pencil. Now she does the homeworks also with a lot of interest. That's a very, very interesting and appreciating work. Also, because once they are done with all the activities that we do with the children, they are ready. They are ready for more. They are ready for bigger challenges. Like the child will start walking, and then he will want to run. Same way, if the pre-writing is done properly, they will want to write, they will finish their homework, they will ask you for more. So that is how they have to master. So if the mastering has not happened, that means you have to give a lot of activities. So you can, it will be slightly messy, we understand, but you can give old newspapers, old papers to tear. So once, can I have an empty paper? I'll show you how tearing happens. So this is a paper. The child has to tear it. So once the child tears it, once it is bigger, it is very easy. Then it becomes slower. But you will see all the fingers that are required for writing is used. Thumb is used, fingers are used, and you tear. And then you keep tearing. Your house will become messy, but your child's fingers will become very strong. So highly recommending these activities, paper crushing, paper rolling, those activities. Do it with your children. They will enjoy these activities and their finger muscles will become very strong. And we will take your queries a few more now before we move on to the next topic.
So all in all, do not underestimate your child helping at home. Okay, the work, let them help you in the kitchen, let them help you around the house. Everything adds towards their skills, their dexterity.
we're taking the questions. Yes, my daughter can't able to understand and identify the letters and colors. This is the most important thing because developing visual tracking is also very important. The child needs to know what they're expected to write. So you have to first give them a lot of identification. They see objects in and around themselves. They are very much aware of the colors. Identification of the colors might not be there, but they know how the colors are different from each other, how objects vary from each other. So you have to give them small things to do. You can do sand tracing probably. You can ask them to show number one, that is the standing line. Then you show them circle. Then you show them letters also. Slowly, slowly. Letter A says apple. Apple says apple begins with A, and this is how A is written. But we don't start the writing with letter A. We start with letter L. But identification has to be given.
So why do we start writing in this process? So what we showed you right now, we have been showing you standing line, sleeping line. So the strokes that were there. So these are the standing line. A straight line is easy for a child to imitate. And then comes the sleeping line strokes. So joining two dots in a horizontal motion. So these two strokes together will form your letter L, T, I, F, H. So our objective is to start free hand movement of the child. Hand movement is very important. That is why we do not straight away go to the more difficult letters. So after your standing and sleeping letters come your slanting line letters. But again, we will do the strokes first. We have right to left slanting, left to right slanting. We do a W kind of a pattern that we ask the child to trace or to join the dots. Once they know that stroke, we come to the slanting line letters. So at that point, we introduce A, B, W, X, Y. Finally come the curves where the control and mastery over the pencil and their fingers is most required. Then we introduce the other letters D, C, B, G, S. Once they are able to write your standing, sleeping and slanting line stroke letters, curve letters usually are just a formality. They are able to do it easily. So here, this is how we actually approach writing. Some of you have a query, why aren't you doing A, B, C, D? Why is it L, T, I and then suddenly A is coming later? This is the logic or reason behind that, to make it easy for the child to pick. You just imagine if you were to introduce B, A is still maybe okay, it's just a slanting and one sleeping line. But if you were to introduce B, C, D to a child at the very beginning when they do not know the ABCs of writing, the child is not going to take to writing. There's going to be some resistance or they will start rejecting. They will say, no, I don't want to write. And when you are writing a curve, the amount of control that is required with the hand, with the fingers is much more than you are doing when you're doing a straight line, say standing, sleeping or slanting. So again, this is to help the child build the hand movement, and then whatever you introduce, child would be able to write. So of course, the progression is we come to print letters in LKG, we introduce second language at that time, and then we come to cursive writing. Once the foundation, the basis is set in nursery, where the hand movement is there, and they're able to write capital letters, everything else will easily follow for the children.
I have a few queries. I have one of the parent who's saying my child uses entire fist in holding pen, crayon or pencil. I try a lot to make her understand, but she doesn't want to understand.
So this again comes with practice. There is no shortcut or magic pencil or activity that will just make your child write in a day. So now if all the fingers are being used as we suggested, you can keep something under the two fingers. Give activities with the three fingers, need not be with pencil. Ask her to pick grains, separate grains while holding something under the last two fingers. They can separate grains, you can give balls for her to pick and put. In the kitchen, you are going to, if you have chickpeas, ask her to separate the chickpeas. They can pick up utensils with three fingers. Just see whatever activity they are going to do that they are using only the three fingers.
We can also try probably in this, again, experiencing all the activities that we discussed already, cloth pin, You cannot hold it with all your hands. Bottle opening, of course, everything is required, but for these activities, only three fingers are required. Paper tearing, paper rolling. You have basically the finger separation is not happening. The child is not able to separate these three fingers. We need to develop the fine motors here. So we do a lot of activities in school also, ma'am, when we do this counting of the fingers, counting using fingers. So we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is an activity that we do orally during all our playgroup class throughout our nursery. We do finger counting. So we have to do this. And again, opening and closing of the fist. So
Exercises, individual fingers. You can ask them to press,
Right.
ask them to wriggle. So you have to see that they are able to move and use each finger separately as well. So this again, throwing a ball, catching a ball, day-to-day activities is what will help you. Don't be afraid to let your child make a mess. Ma'am was just showing you about tearing of paper. Of dough. They'll get dough all over their hands. So that's why we suggest you make wheat dough, atta, that you might be cooking with. Even if they're ingesting it or eating it, it's not a problem. When they get messy, they are still learning a lot of things, and slowly that finesse will come. That is when you realize they're also beginning to control the fingers, how to use them, how much pressure to put. So again, when we were showing you those sheets with writing, sometimes there is no pressure on the pencil. It's very light that the child writes. You can't see that the child has written L or T or the standing line or sleeping line.
Ma'am, I have another query also. Similarly, what the dots was given. My Miss Lavanya is asking, my daughter is able to write if dots are available, but if there are no dots, then she's facing difficulty for the same.
So here again,
I think we are again talking for nursery parent only.
Right.
So nursery children are okay if you are giving them dots. Give them something, because still LKG we will be asking them to write from where they are supposed to write. Like we will start small letters, we'll start cursive later. So they have to know the starting point. It's okay if they are able to write joining the dots. That is fine.
Because everything is a new concept for them. We introduced the 4-line concept. We showed you the 4 lines. You might have seen it in their books as well, those of the children who are
But
in
I'm
nursery.
sure we can tell how many dots to be given, not multiple, not
Tracing,
tracing is not required.
Tracing is to be avoided because a child will never understand the concept of writing. What should L look like? So if you are giving just minimal dots, so L ideally should be 3 dots. And verbal instructions. Actually, simple ma'am, we'll come to that. We do have a segment where we are going to tell you what to avoid and what you should follow, so that later on, as I mentioned again, it's very difficult to correct something. If a child has started writing in a wrong way, it is very difficult to bring the child back on track.
Right.
So from the beginning, it might be a little difficult, where it should maybe take 10 days. It's taking you 2 weeks or 3 weeks. There's nothing wrong with that.
But I have an interesting question, ma'am.
Yeah.
I don't want to put it for later. Here, Shweta ma'am is asking, my son doesn't sit at one place at all. He will start his excuses after trying to join the dots. Is it common? You are not alone, ma'am. It happens. The focus of the children are like what, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes. We have to gradually increase that.
So again, when you are starting off with strokes, we'll come back to the very basic, like your sleeping line, standing line. You have to make it interesting for them there. In school, yes, we have so many materials, we have many activities, which makes it interesting for them. But at home also, you should try and follow that. There are a lot of books out there, your activity books, your writing books, your coloring books. So many books are there which actually children enjoy because of the colorful nature of it. And some of you would even, I think I've heard saying that in one day a whole book is done. So they want to do it. So, but not all children are like that. Some will only be able to give you 5 minutes of their time, 2 minutes of their time, and then they are distracted by something else. So when you are doing the writing, or you want your child to do just one page, let's say, and when I say one page, initially you should be starting off with just this much, only 6 strokes. We are not looking for you to start off with a page like this. This is difficult for a child to concentrate on. Too many to do. Probably after the first 2 rows, they are done. They are not ready to cooperate. something like this. That's it. And you yourself can ask the child to go. You play, you come back. And then we'll move on to the next set
And
of
then the play,
writing.
of course, it has to be given them with proper instructions. You can give the grain separation. You can mix chola and rajma together probably, and you can ask them to separate the two. You can give them two different color objects. One is red color, one is blue color. We do this activity as in playgroup a lot of times to give them two mixed color things, and then we ask them to separate. So these are fun activities. They are playing, but they are learning a lot. You can give them anything. You can give them bindi pasting activities also. You can make a drawing of anything or a ball or something and ask sitting, opening the bindis and putting it. Children enjoy what they see you all enjoying. So since at home we do the household chores in a repeat mode, cooking is done thrice, so they really like the vegetables. They will be fond of fruits and vegetables at all times. You can mix two and you can ask them to separate this one to this plate and this one to this plate. So they will be enjoying all these activities, and then it will be easier for them to focus. So building focus is also very, very crucial.
So basically what ma'am's query is what we were going to come to next, which is the best practices and tips that we'd like to share, which will help you gradually overcome. Again, it's not going to happen overnight, and you will have to sit with them and do any of the activities.
Before we move on, Hamsa ma'am, I will request parents, thank you so much for this kind of an engagement. If I know I would have missed out a few of the queries, you can drop your query one more time if we have not answered it, so that while we discuss tips and tricks, we'll take the remaining queries also.
So through this webinar, I think a lot of queries would also have been answered.
This will stay with us on our YouTube channel, so you can go back and check in case any of your friends have missed out. You can share with them also and ask them to go through this again one more time, because these activities anybody can do from home. So it will be really helpful for them.
So here, now, how can you make it interesting? How can you, for 90% of the children, they will take to it like fish to water. They will be able to follow the steps. They'll be able to follow the instructions. So for the remaining 10 children, you will have to make 10%, you'll have to make it interesting for them. It's all about enjoyment. Firstly, your child should be able to follow verbal instructions. Right here, we would like to say, do not hold their hands. You're not trying to finish the work faster. You're trying to ensure the child is learning and learning effectively. So you will have to see that you're able to give verbal instructions. For example, when I say standing line, let's go back to the very basic. So when you are giving them this paper, don't hold their hands. Tell them to start. You can point to the dot and tell them start at the first dot. So you're verbally telling them. You're not going to hold the child's hand, put the pencil on the dot and say start from there. You're going to give verbal instructions and the child should be able to follow you. It might take 2, 3, 4 days maybe, but that is completely fine. Nothing wrong with that. There is no timeline within 2 days my child has to know, otherwise there is something wrong, or my child is slow or not able to pick up. You don't have to worry about all that. So child, you have to give instructions saying start at the first dot, stop at the second dot. Start first dot, stop at the second dot. Now, once you find that your child is able to understand those instructions, and then writing will become easier. As many activities as possible involving both hands. So there was a query in between, Simple Ma'am, about left hand or right hand. My child is using both hands. Again, there is nothing wrong if your child is going to be writing with left. For some of them, it takes a while. It takes a few months for parents, teachers, even the child to understand which hand to use to write. They're comfortable in both. In both hands, they're writing equally well. Then you will have to see which is the predominant hand for the child. Say you're throwing a ball, which hand comes first to catch? Or you are asking...
Or drinking water also, you have to identify which hand are they comfortable in using the fork, are they comfortable using left hand or right hand. So the world is made for right-handers actually. 90% of the people are right-handers. So we assume right hand is the only way. But if the child is picking up objects with left hand, writing comfortably, then there will be special things that we need to do. First of all, we don't have to force them to pick the right hand, because it is very difficult. If their normal thing is to use left hand, then let them use left hand. But yes, you will have to modify the instructions a little. Like now we will come to how the writing has to be done. Like this, the teacher and the student, I mean the mother and the child, has to sit side by side, not opposite.
So how does this help? You are cutting down the instances of a child writing mirror image. Right, that would probably be one of the queries that parents would have. My child is writing mirror image, what do I do? So when you are in school, the child is sitting right next to the teacher. So we know that, child is not going to pick it up, or at least the instances are reduced. At home as well, you have to sit next to the child, and please have separate pencils, one for yourself, one for the child. Okay, you shouldn't be using pen and the child using pencil. The child's query will be, why can't I use the pen? We use the pencil because you can erase, mistakes can be undone, so the child also has a chance to try again. You should have your own, your child should have your own. Do not keep
Ma'am, I
erasing.
have a query which is coming again and again. I'll tell you, I'll read the query. My child most of the time writes from right to left and bottom to top instead of left to right and bottom. Any reason for this behavior? I think it is the mirroring of the hand gestures again. So
when you are sitting opposite to them, it is again
right
going from the
left.
wrong side. So you'll have to sit along and ask your child to copy exactly what you are doing. So this again comes back to verbal instructions. Child should be able to look at you or listen to you and follow what they are supposed to do, how they're supposed to write.
And we can go back and do the previous activities, like we did sand tracing. We do at in school sand tracing, because the sand is sieved and properly kept. You can do suji tracing, atta tracing. Those will be very, very, non-hazardous. And you can show the child from top to bottom, they have to join, and from left to right. It is a slow activity. If the child is mirroring, you have to sit next to the child, and maybe 1 or 2 times you will have to show the instructions properly. Then the child will be able to understand.
And when you are doing the tracing, probably you should not be giving all the dots together because they can start anywhere. Give the first set of dots, then give the second, so they can see that it is going from one side to the other. If they do it 10 or 20 times, automatically that will also register with them. Now, best practices, there are many to follow. Now, what should you avoid doing? I think this would be very important, because you will undo whatever good practices you are following also. Firstly, please do not use slate, chalk, thick crayons or markers or sketch pen, because one, for chalk, crayons or markers, it's very thick. The grip is very different compared to holding a pencil. And why we say avoid sketch pen or marker, even without any pressure, you can see it, it's dark. So the child is not going to put any force when they are writing. Why no slate or chalk, especially on the wall? If it's on the wall, again the angle, how the hand is, the pressure that will be there, everything changes compared to writing on the table, on a paper, in front of them. So please avoid all of that.
Ma'am, on that note, again for joining the dots only, I have a query which says my child writes without dots, but when I give dots, the child gets very confused. So what is to be done?
You can avoid the dots. I think that is a very good start for the child. See, the dots are to help guide them. But if you see that your child is able to understand and already has the concept, so we do not go backwards, we do not regress, we have to go forward. So giving the 3 dots for children, we will say by end of the year, if a child has understood the concept, avoid the dots. Single dot is enough, or no dots. So your child has already reached that level, please do not go backwards, you can do it without the dots.
But again, the child should write in between the lines that are asked. Like capital letters are all written in 3 lines, but when it comes to small letters, we want to concentrate only on the middle 2 lines. So that is why we give them a start point and end point, here to start, here to end, so that they know how to write the letter. If the child is able to write without dots and in the lines given, I mean the proper letter is formation proper and the dot is proper, it is neat, we can, I think, go ahead.
So you might say you've not talked anything about numbers, so that will follow. See, the whole point of starting off the writing skills is hand movement should be there. So once a child again is able to do standing, sleeping or slanting line letters, they reach to that point, numbers will also automatically follow. They just have to follow the rules of numbers. You would have seen that there are squares that they have to write within, touch the bottom
I
line.
have a
skills
sorry,
like
ma'am.
that.
I have a query
Another
from
query.
Mr. Shrikant. I think this also has come multiple times. My daughter twists her wrist. I'm not sure what twisting of the wrist is meaning. I mean, maybe she's not able to write properly. Kindly let me know how to solve this problem. So we have to work basically on the gross motor of the child, the arm, elbow, the wrist, and the fingers. Everything has to move properly. So if she's just using the wrist, probably we'll have to go back and do her core activities, her muscle building activities. We have to give them the play-doh activity.
Another way that we can probably guide you, sir, would be whichever kids castle your child is going to, you can definitely update them probably with a video, and we can help you out later, because this we are not able to exactly understand when you say moving.
Mr.
the
Shrikant, you
wrist.
can post in this chat only which center is this child from. We will ask the center also to just help you out with the proper video. We'll probably call you on a Saturday also and we'll check out.
So till now, what we have been discussing is something where 90% or 95% of the children will fall under the bracket. Now, there will be 5% who will be taking a little longer, will be struggling, not able to grip the pencil, not able to follow the instructions. So, as we said, every child is different, every child develops at a different pace. It's not going to be 10 days, all of them are going to write standing line, next 10 days, they all master sleeping line. It does not happen like that. So, if you have any child, that 5% maybe, even that might be a very big number that I am talking about. If you have children who are not following into this category, please do not worry. Again, we would go back only to the basics. Some of them do not tell you, my hand is hurting, I'm not able to
I
go
have
on."
this query from lot of parents that the pressure is so much on the child's hands and fingers that they do not enjoy writing anymore, and then they don't want to do this activity. So that is there, since writing itself is a very they will learn now, and then forever they will have to keep writing. So one thing is there that their muscles, fine muscles, have to develop, but also their gross motor. So simultaneously they have to do a lot of physical activities also. Full body exercise also is required to get that extra energy out from their system, because they do not sit in one place for longer otherwise, and then they have to work on their finer motors also.
And everything is interconnected. They are communication, speech. That also reflects when it comes to writing. A child's writing improves when they're able to recognize, when they're able to communicate. So you have to work on the overall development of your child. That will automatically reflect when they come to writing. A more detailed introduction to strokes would be required in case your child is not able to pick up the concept of standing, sleeping line. So once more, we come to the dot. So here, the child has joined it. So the previous level stage to this would be a single dot. You just ask the child to draw a line. There is no end point. The child might stop right here, only till here. A child might extend this single line all the way down to the end of the page. It could be anything. Let the child just learn and explore first what it is to put pencil to paper, and then we can move bit by bit. If it takes longer, also
you had mentioned numbers, I have a few queries for writing numbers also. That absolutely zero interest in writing numbers, and the other parent is saying that struggling to write number 2 and 3. Of course, there will be struggle. They are curved numbers. Number 2 is curved, number 3 is all the more double curve. It is difficult for them to write. We put a lot of emphasis on writing letters because there are 26 of them. Numbers are just 10 that they have to master. After that, it becomes very easy for them.
So if you see the syllabus at Kids Castle as well, numbers go a lot slower than we do for letters, because the hand movement, the understanding that they will achieve when they're doing the letters will help them automatically to write their numbers. So there are queries. Anything else that we haven't covered?
There are queries
that hasn't been covered in the webinar so far.
There is a query from playgroup parent. He can somewhere scribble what more is expected. So the parents also want to know, I think 2-3 parents are wanting to know by end of playgroup what they should be expecting from the child, and from nursery onwards what they can expect now that the nursery is just 3
third
It's
month
a
is
third
going
month.
on. So if we look at playgroup level, we do not expect them to write. The focus here is a lot more on the pre-writing skills. Again and again, yes, we keep coming back to that
Yes.
phrase, that line, that word, pre-writing. That is very important. Activities, scribbling, coloring. I mean, it feels like a very trivial activity. Everybody is doing it every time, but it's underrated. It's so important. There are many levels. We showed you the apple. So first it comes out of the box. Hardly any coloring would be there. A lot of white spaces. You have to slowly ask the child to fill the white space, to stay within the border. So many things are there. So scribbling is more than fine. Towards the end of playgroup, yes, you can probably start introducing the stroke, standing line, sleeping line, not even the letters. We're not even expecting that. Understanding instructions. So if the child has reached that level, they are more than ready for nursery.
Yes,
Again,
there are
nursery.
milestones. There are different milestones, not for the paper and for the book and for the writing. This is for the activities. The child should be able to throw the ball, catch the ball, bigger balls, and then kick the ball, walk the stairs. Child should be able to tear the paper, roll the paper with hands, do fingerprint, thumbprint. They should be able to understand that we are doing this kind of an activity at this point of time. So they show something, then we have coloring activities, and we do a lot of various changes in that. Dabbing, simple dabbing also we do with so many different things. Like one day we'll pick up vegetables like lady's finger. We do capsicum, we do onion rings also, we do sometimes potato rings also. We do all these things so that the same activity is done in a different level and the outcome is different every time. So when they do a dabbing activity using a cotton or a sponge or a thumb or any leaf printing, the outcome is going to be totally different and they will enjoy that activity. So that is very important for them to.
So here I would also like our nursery parents to just probably drop in a few comments or observations from their side on how their child is enjoying or picking up writing in school. We'll also get to understand how the activities are going, how their child is coping with the writing. It's all a new skill for them. You can drop in your comments on that.
Ma'am, nursery parents are also waiting what they can expect at the end of nursery.
So by the end of nursery, yes, your child should 90% again. See, there are always a small bracket of children who will take a little extra time. There's nothing wrong. We are also ready to give them that time, that extra effort from the side of the school. A to Z, they would be able to write numbers 1, not 1 to 10. If they have mastered A to Z, 1 to 20, maybe even 1 to 30, child would be able to write. And as part of the syllabus, we ourselves will be starting off with print letters, at least the vowels A, E, I, O, U.
That will come towards
end of the year, Feb, March time frame. So A to Z is the basic. We don't expect that the children should do the print letters also. A to Z basic, 1 to 10 numbers basic, child should be able to do.
And to do not miss out the letters. Identification has to be done properly with the relatable words also. See, when they are able to identify apple, it is very easy to understand A for apple. So the worksheets are also made like this. They are very interesting. Our books are very interesting. You can go through the books again and again to see different activities done at different times. There are small fingerprints, there are bigger ones. Sometimes we use crayons to write the letters. Sometimes we are using pencil to write the letters. And then there are always repetition, because children love to repeat. That is how they will master. So anything that you want them to learn properly, they have to repeat it again and again to master that activity, and they should be able to express themselves also properly. If the verbal instructions, if they are following, they should be also able to express themselves back. Any language is fine, though in school we prefer for a nursery class to express completely. Even our playgroup children, if they have attended 8 to 10 months, they are able to answer us properly in a not so grammatic sentence, but they are able to make up what they want from us. So
I think there's been quite a bit of discussion and information shared. I hope all of you, it was beneficial. All of you have picked up certain points here and there that will help you take forward for your child, and on a whole understand how we are approaching it in school. because it's a very different approach. As I said, we don't go A, B, C, D, but rather it's all jumbled up from the viewpoint of a parent. So we hope this was very informational, informative for all of you, and you were able to, arrange your thoughts also, and you have now gotten an idea how to approach it with your children.
I have still queries coming in. One of the parent has asked that they have received only one book from the school. Since we mentioned the school part, that books are there.
So kindly do check back with your center. I'm sure they will help you with that. Thank
we
you
don't
all.
burden the parents, so we do not
Right.
send everything together.
So we don't send so much homework. And again, if you see the homework that we do send, it's just 2 lines or 3 lines. That's all, again, the attention span of a child is. So we do not expect them to write pages after pages at this age. The age will come for that.
So that was all from our side.
Thank
you
you
all
so
can
much.
get back to us. You can see this video again. I have queries. Parents probably would have joined a little late, so they are asking the same queries about hand movement, grip is not there, concentration is not there. We have discussed at length in this webinar. The recording will be there on our YouTube channel. You all can go through and get back to us for any further queries also. We'll be more than happy to discuss anything further that will help our children.
Thank you so much, and happy weekend to all of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this wonderful engagement that we had with you all. Thank you.